Hello, hello, welcome back. Let's talk about tritone substitution. So here's how it works. The purpose is to create an augmented or diminished pull towards a chord a fourth away. So it's stronger pull that way than if you just move to it. Okay? That's the whole point of tritone substitution. Most of the time this happens from chord 1 to chord 4 or from chord 5 to chord 1, but you can find it in other places as well. So as you know by now, in a blues we turn chord 1 into a dominant 7. So this breaks away from the major scale's 1 chord, which has a natural extension of major 7. If we take every other note from the scale, we know we get all those 7 chords. But if we take every other note from the scale and we build 4 notes from each chord, we get a major 7. So in A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. 1, skip a note, skip a note, skip a note. We get a major 7 there. Okay? So, if we're going from this chord to this chord, the 4 chord, 1 to 4, okay? You can see that this note here, the major 7, pulls to the 5th of the D, yeah? But if we had a dominant 7 to this, instead of a major 7, that pulls to the major 3rd instead. And the pull is stronger, so if we're going we go here, that's like it wants to go there more than if we just go like that. So that's kind of the first idea. If we did this from chord 5 to 1 instead, the 3rd there goes to the root of that chord. The 7 there goes to the 3rd of that chord. So the pull of going a dominant 7 up a 4th is stronger than if it's a major 7. That's the first kind of understanding you need to have. If we want to make this even stronger, back in A now, so we've gone A7 instead of A major 7. Yeah? That 5th there is a tone away from the 3rd of this chord, right? So to make that stronger, we put a sharp 5 in instead of normal 5th. Sharp 5 in, and now that's a stronger pull. So instead of is more tension that way. We can go even further. We can do a flat 9. That flat 9 wants to go to the 5th of this chord. So instead of being the same note, an A and then an A is just staying. We go. And again, we create more tension in that way. You can actually turn this into, think of it as a diminished chord here. So what you want to do is create more tension to the next chord. We can learn all these chords then, right? Sharp 9, flat 9, sharp 5, flat 5, and we can maybe even like learn the arpeggios from them. And you know, where does it ever end? Well, it ends after those 4, I suppose. But it's a lot to learn. So instead of doing that, we can tritone substitute. So, a tritone is a sharp 4 or a flat 5. So that's a D sharp in relation to A, right? If we play a D sharp 7, we have these notes, right? D sharp, G, C sharp there, that's just a semitone away from the D. And that note there, the A, the G, sorry, is just a semitone away from there. So instead of going, put that in, and we're kind of then hinting all those notes that the extended A, which was, or, we're putting all of them in by playing that tritone substitute. Okay? That's the basic idea of it. You use the tritone substitute instead of extending the chord. And if you know your arpeggios, as in your normal arpeggios, your minus 7, your major 7, your dominant 7, and maybe even the minus 7 flat 5, but let's focus on the dominant 7 here. You learned all these shapes, right? And maybe you got licks in there. You can then tritone substitute and create this altered, diminished, crazier sounding notes by just using a shape you already know. So I'll show you this with a little example here. First with chords and then with a solo bit or a melody or whatever. Let's say the chords are this. That's a 1-4 back to 1 in the blues, right? It's super common. That's a 9. If you want to have a 9 on the A, it'll be that. Okay? If you want a tritone substitute to create more tension, we put this D sharp 9 in before the D9. And similarly, before we go back to A, we put a G sharp 7 in. So or 9 maybe. That could be on the last eighth notes or on the last quarter note, but just for simplicity here, I'm just gonna put it on beat 4. So A7, okay. I'll make you a little loop here, and we're gonna I'll put a little solo over it, and you'll see where this is going. So here's the basic loop. Okay, so on top of that, I'm now gonna play a little melody. So here's the melody. That's the 5th of the chord, the flat 7. That's the 6, and flat 7 again. That's the first note. So that's this blues language. Okay, over this D sharp 9 or D sharp 7, could think of it as well, I'll play this. So I'm outlining that dominant 7 arpeggio. And then when we go to D9, I've moved that 1 fret down. So okay, then G sharp 7, because that's G sharp 7, right? And then back to A9 or A7, just move it up a fret. So that's your G sharp, that's your A dominant. So the whole melody. Okay, let's hear that over the chords. Alright, so that made sense, didn't it? We just we tritone substituting the chord in order to create that outside sound, so it's... And you heard that a million times in different songs, and then even doing it back. Here's the really interesting bit. We can do this without changing the chord, so we do it in the solo. So as we're going from A and then the last beat, we put that tritone substitution in. But the chord isn't there. We just do it anyway. So I'm not going to play this again with the chords, without the tritone substitution in the chords, but I'm going to put them in on in the melodies. So same melodies before, but the chords have changed. So here's the chords only. 3, 4. Okay, so that was tritone substituting when you're soloing, even though it's not happening in the chords. It's brilliant. You can, I mean, if you want a rabbit hole, that's a good one. Let's talk about one more example of tritone substitution. It's just in chords now. Sir Duke by Stevie Wonder. That's gonna come up in the advanced electric course. So this is a really famous bit in the bridge where we go. And then again. And then into the chorus. So what we're doing here is, instead of going, you know, that kind of just a fourth up playing dominant 7 chords. Very common chord progression technique. So instead of going to there, we just go to the tritone substitute of that chord. And then we're on D. And instead of going to G there, we go to a D flat. That's all tritone substitutions. And then back up again. Etc. So that's another example of how you can use it in songwriting, basically. Okay, so lots of stuff to explore there. You could do that. I mean, the more you do it, the more you sound like a jazz player being in the wrong band if you're not careful. But in the right place, at the right time, tritone substitution is fantastic. Next step, final step of this chord progression adventure is modal interchange. Got a couple of song examples in there for you to talk you through how this works. As always, we need to find it in songs and then explain it in theory for it to make real sense. See you in the next and final step.